Hughes connected. Yeah, Mike. Hey, what's up, Jeffrey? Yeah, it's the soundtrack to the remake Battlestar. This is season 2, and then this particular song is a kind of a remake of the original theme song to the original show. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the remake Battlestar Galactica and the music. It's so good. A tree. Hey, what's up? Pencil for life. Brad Ashworth, dude, what's up, man? Yeah, Mike. Yeah, it was such a yeah. Taking the concept You know, and they removed the silliness that the original had and turned it into this deeply serious kind of exploration of humanity in what to me is arguably one of the greatest science, maybe the greatest science fiction show ever. And this is coming from a guy that's a big Star Trek fan. Yeah, Mr. Ashworth, I see you're getting your artwork going like regularly. It seems like, at least as far as posting it, man, and you just keep getting better and better, dude. Jeffrey, I like the ending of the Galactica remake. I know some people were kind of, especially at the time, it kind of created some controversy among the fans. But it's just a case of, it's a science fiction show that's actually set way in the past rather than, you know, a futuristic show. It's just humanity originated on planets on the other side of the known universe or the galaxy or something like that. And we are their descendants. Yeah. They kind of became our, you know, forefathers basically, and it definitely had a definitive, like, this is the end of the story. This is the end of the show. Well, yeah, there were cycles of humanity fighting machines, and that was the whole, like, all this has happened before, and all of this will happen again, but will it? And then our own current day kind of flirtation with AI and technologies, like, are we going to repeat the past? It was definitely a ballsy kind of approach to ending the show, but I was a little kind of up in the air on it when it first happened. But as time has gone on, I've learned to completely appreciate it. I'm like, I love it. Like, yep, I get it. Leo Kessie, what's up? Underboob. I was telling one of my friends it's my second favorite uh, version of boob is underboob. The best version, of course, is just, naked, regular boob. Pencil for life. Yeah, man, it's been going crazy. Like, I don't know. I don't know how it worked out. I think I added 4,000 subscribers because I just barely passed my second year mark. I think, I don't know. I'm right at my second year. But I did like 4,000 subscribers in year two. I was like at 2,000 subscribers at the end of year one. But then somehow in year two, I got 4K. Like, I don't know how that happens. But yeah, I'll hit you up. You'll see me. Eliff, Aeliff. Thank you. Jeff, are you asking about the story that I'm not this thing, but the comic I'm doing, the guy that lost his parts? Are you asking if he's going to get them back? It might be spoilery. Miguel Riviera. It's just a pinup of some characters, just a drawing for fun of some characters I'm drawing in a comic book, but I just wanted to draw something just for the hell of it. Where are they fighting? As per usual in any Liefeld parody, book, it has to be the same as his work, which is, I don't know, literally anywhere or nowhere. You're just floating in a void. One or 2 point perspective. 0 point perspective, as in none. So I'm just doing a flip on it. I know my girl here is very long and gangly, but that's okay. Hey, that's my favorite kind of girl. Puts a lot of time into her hair and her makeup and shit, but not her clothes. Miguel Riviera, how old are you, sir? You're talking about you want to make comics, but you get frustrated? How old are you? Look up Rob Liefeld, the master. No feet, it's illegal. Well, I'm just wondering, if you're older or younger, if you're just starting out. I mean, Miguel, I don't know what to say. You have to want to do it. I think that's the biggest thing that I can say. You say you want to do it, but you give up and get frustrated. That doesn't mean that you stop. If you want to make comics, just make it. And even if it's not as good as you feel like it should be, it doesn't matter. Just make it. Get something done, and then look at it and learn, and then make the next one. Make the comic. You're actually talking about something that I'm kind of wanting to do, like an opinion piece on, like just a video conversation about my opinion on this kind of subject, because I talk to so many people, or get a lot of comments, and people want to make them, but they've been talking about doing it for a long time, or they get frustrated and they give up. It has to be something that you're incredibly passionate about, and you have to do it. If it's just kind of like a casual passing fancy to make a comic book, you'll never do it, because it's not easy. It requires a lot of time and effort, but it's fun. Just stop worrying about perfection, if that's a thing. Grayson, thank you. You say these drawings are incredible. I appreciate that. But just the first thing I say is, like, I'm just repeating myself, is just get started. Make the thing. I got a guy who sent me his first comic, and him and his buddy made it about a bunch of pot smoking, like, monsters. And I did a video review of it, and I had some critiques on it, and I'd said in the video, I'm not trying to, like, burst these guys' bubble, but there are some things I think they could have done better, because it was their first effort, but they did a lot of things right. And the guy actually messaged me today, and he hits me up often. He says, I want you to know I took your advice to heart. We're making issue 2, and we're applying some of the suggestions that you made, and we already feel like it's looking better now than it was before. So, they just took my suggestions, whatever that might be worth, and just kept going. One down, on to the next one. Yeah, you've always been a comic fan. An art teacher from school told you to practice drawing 30 minutes a day. Yeah, that's I've heard professional comic artists talk about you have to sit down. It's like exercising a muscle. You have to kind of work at it every day a little bit. And anybody I know that's where art is a part of their life, it's just something that they do no matter what. Like, they just have to do it. And doing comics, you got to learn to do all kinds of different stuff. Like, it's not just spandexy heroes jumping around looking awesome like the bullshit I'm doing now. That's certainly part of it, but you got to learn perspective and storytelling and the 180 rule and all kinds of little bits and pieces. But just sit down and make a comic book. Just do it. And don't let frustration or perfection paralysis get the better of you. I got a friend of mine from high school who is the exact same age as me, and he's been working on the same concept since we were 16 years old. And he keeps revamping it and redesigning it and restyling it. And he'll do a few pages and then give up because it's not good enough. And then he'll revamp it and retool it and redesign it. And then he'll change it and alter it. And then he's like, okay, this is the perfect version. I finally got the perfect version of it down. And he'll draw a few pages of it, and he's like, it's not good enough. And so since ages 16 to 48, he's produced exactly jack shit. Besides a bunch of conceptual images and sketches and a few comic pages that he's abandoned because it's not good enough. And I'm like, dude, you've done nothing. You haven't made one damn thing. Like, stop wasting time. Just make it. But it has to be perfect. And, when you're approaching 50, it's like, all right, if you can't make it by now, I'm like, you're just not going to. Just give up. I get frustrated at it. Just fucking stop. Like, if you're not going to do it, then stop acting like you're going to do it. I've never said those words to him because he's the nicest, most gentle guy I've ever known, but Jesus, yeah. Yeah, muscle memory for your art. That and your hand will remember the shape. I try it, like you said, for it to be perfect, and I never think it is perfect. Yeah, just, it's a funny kind of comparison I make, but for those of us who know old school comic artists, that guy named Mr. Rob Liefeld, never once did he have perfect anatomy at all. But he had energy and excitement and enthusiasm, and it paid off. So it's not even about knowing perfect anatomy. Some of the most successful guys know anatomy for shit, but they know it just well enough to tell an exciting, dynamic page. So, again, just make it. You know, a lot of people just keep giving themselves excuses to not make it. So anyway, I don't know if that helps. You know, it's kind of the only advice I can give. Don't worry about being the best artist. Don't worry about being the best writer. Just make it. And then you will start learning. You'll make mistakes, you'll fuck up. You might look at it down the road and be kind of embarrassed by it, but at least you got started. Now, if you want to make it as a professional comic artist, getting hired by Marvel, I don't know what to tell anybody about that. I don't have that, so I don't know what to tell you. I just tell people, make your work. Just make the book. Make the book. You really love comics, and you see so many people with great art, and you want to do that. See, the thing is just the idea that if you make your own thing, you're going to have your own kind of unique voice. You're going to make a unique book, even if, again, your art's not as good as the professional guys. You're just going to make something unique and kind of a one-off that no one else has, just because it's your own creator-owned work. So it's worth it just for that. In fact, I've done this for several people. In fact, I haven't ran into anybody that I've said no to. If you actually make a comic and print up copies, I will put it on my YouTube channel. And I have a small viewership somehow. Yeah. I mean, if it's any kind of a motivation to make a thing, I've done it for pretty much. I don't think there's been anybody that's asked me. I guess the only real thing is I don't like looking at digital comics because it's kind of a pain in the ass to make it work to show a digital comic on my channel because I do everything just by videoing it with my phone. But yeah, if you make a thing, hit me up and let's show it. You know. Yeah, Miguel. Yeah, thank you, man. No worries. I hope it's motivating. Like I said, it's a lot of work just to sit down and put out pages, but it's the only way it'll happen. Jeffrey asking if digital comics are the future. I mean, it probably is. I just hate it. I will never be excited to look at a comic that I love on a digital screen. Not interested. I want to be able to physically hold it. And I'm just old school that way. That's just how I roll. And having availability in a digital world is certainly a good idea. Yeah, digital comics just blow. Yeah, and Nate, there's certainly a reason for it to exist. I mean, like, I don't have a problem with, like, looking at people's art digitally, but it's just actually having the physical comic to read itself um, is the only difference. Like, I follow tons of artists on, like, Instagram. And so, getting people engaged with your work, yeah, that absolutely makes sense. But having the actual damn physical book in my hand. Yeah, that is the downside to physical comics is the cost for sure, and then it seems like it's only getting worse. Which is another reason why you have to make something unique that stands out to make a person want to pick it up and spend that money. I mean, I want Rob Liefeld's new shit, his Last Blood, so I can look at it and laugh and make fun of it on my channel. But I ain't paying anywhere from $30 to $60 for that fucking garbage. It's absolutely bullshit. So, I'm just gonna have to see if I get lucky in the future and find something secondhand somewhere for not an exorbitant bullshit cost. Which reminds me, I gotta get my order in for the Youngblood Artist Edition or Artifact Edition or whatever the fuck it is. Well, Jeffrey, I don't have an answer for that for this thing because it's not done. I don't have I don't have a page count, but it's going to be in the realm of more traditional, like a regular floppy size comic. My Masters of the Universe books, like the fan copy things that I was making, the big graphic novel things, they have cost me around about $300 to print. 250 to $300 to print up in like 25 batch quantities. I'm trying to remember. That factors in shipping. God, I'm trying to think. It's not horrible. I mean, if you factor in what the cost is per book, and then you sell them, you got your cost versus your retail, what you pay to get it printed versus what you sell it for. The cost of my Master's End books were roughly about $5 a copy, but I sell them for $20 a piece. So if I sell through them all, I make a profit on it. And that's kind of a big difference in cost, a big markup, but I try to justify that by the simple fact that, sorry, I'm looking for it. Here we go. Like, the book that I'm giving people is this huge-ass graphic novel for $20. But color cover, black and white, it cost me about $5 or $6 per copy. So, I try to give people their money's worth. Like, if you're paying me $20 for this, there's a lot of story, and then I put the back matter in it. I've got pictures of me and my friends who kind of helped me put it together, who helped creatively with the story, a girl who did some art modeling, my buddy who helped me do some Photoshop stuff. I put in some text to talk to people, to tell them what I think about the book. I have a little breakdown of my inker buddy, Chuck Gibson, who come along to help me. and then I fill it with pinups from people. So again, I try to make this thing worthwhile. So that's all to say. What is my next one going to be? How much is it? What am I going to kickstart it for? I don't know. I have an idea of $10 a copy. Maybe. So it's all kind of up in the air, decisions to be made. But the most important thing that I'm doing first is I'm not worried about putting together a Kickstarter until I've got the book done. One of the important thing that I'm going to do, and me and Chuck have talked about this, is I don't want to run a Kickstarter and be like, I've got 10 pages done, I'll keep working on the art. Like, I want to be able to put out the Kickstarter and say, the art's done. All I need is money to print it and to know how many copies I need to print for people who want it. And maybe I'll get lucky and it'll catch on and throw a few more bucks my way. And maybe if I got really, really lucky, I make enough money where I could pay somebody to color it. Maybe, you know. But I also kind of like the idea of just leaving it black and white. So it's kind of we'll see what happens. But step one, the book will be done first. At least art. I might, think about throwing up a crowdfunder before I've lettered it. Montoya, what's up, dude? What's going on there, Montoya? You're going to start streaming your art? Have you never done that before? It's kind of fun. I remember the first time I did it, and I was like, this is kind of nerve-wracking. Who the hell would want to watch me do this? But it kind of become enjoyable. Kind of a fun thing to do. It's kind of a fun way to pass the time. Sometimes I just get sick of listening to music, so it's a little bit of a weird distraction to be kind of always stopping and checking in with what people are saying, but I've kind of fallen into a rhythm of it, and it's kind of fun. Because Montoya, you join in on Mitch all the time, right? Old Blood Force Mitch, you watch him stream all the time. He's really consistent. He seems to have a lot of success with it. Yeah. Man, I really would like to get a copy of his book. I keep seeing that art that he makes, and I'm like, God damn, does that look cool. Yeah, he's one of those guys, like I was talking about earlier, like he wants to make comics because it's in his blood. And I'm not trying to speak for him. I don't know him that well, but all you have to do is just look at his guy's output, what he's doing and why he's doing it, you know. He does it because he wants to, and he kind of has to, I would guess. Like it's something he just has to do. Mama Boy Studios, what's up? Yeah, I guess it's pretty close, you know. I'm I'm no slouch either. But I just keep looking at those pages he's making, and I'm like, I want to read this comic. Isn't he on like issue 3 or something like that in terms of art? Oh, issue 5? Holy crap. See? He's got so much content ready to go. I don't know if he's thought about doing a crowdfunder. I remember I talked to him about it once. I'm like, dude, you gotta make these available somehow, man. If possible, you know. I know it's easier said than done. I'm not as fast as I was going on the He-Man book at the end there in my last volume. I was literally pumping out a page a day. I was on a roll. I don't know if I'll ever be that fast again, but the desire to make the stuff certainly hasn't gone anywhere. Yeah, Miguel Rivera. Yeah. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for asking. Thanks for, listening to my quote unquote advice for what it's worth. But yeah, just get passionate about it and make it. Like we are just talking about. Go look up another guy. We're just talking about this guy, Blood Force Mitch. That's another dude that's just making comics all the time. And like they were just saying, he might have up to 5 issues drawn. He's doing it because he loves it. Montoya, you say you think his last stream he was starting to think about his options for getting out, but don't quote you on that. Yeah, I hear you. I know he was saying something about once, like, he's up in Canada, right? And it's like, how does he get copies in the hands of people in the States? Because shipping is an expensive bitch. Yeah, that's a whole new added kind of what are things going to do. In which case, maybe digital comics are the only option sometimes. I was suggesting to him one time, like, maybe he could partner with somebody in the States to kind of print them in the States and ship them out for him on his behalf. To kind of sidestep some of that. Probably easier said than done, but... Yeah, it's hard to say what his options would be, but I just know that all I would prefer from anybody is that hard physical copy. Andy Kubert Kickstarter. Is that the art book? Like his X-Men work or something like that? Am I remembering that Kickstarter correctly? Yeah, see, I wanted to get that, but it was kind of a matter of cost, and I like his work, but I don't love it. I would love to have the book, but I just, at the time, I'm like, I couldn't really validate to myself spending that money, because I think I was, at the same time, also spending money on the Eric Larson Savage Dragon, and I know that I was going to get the Liefeld Youngblood, so I'm like, I can't do a third one for a guy whose work I like, but I don't love. So that one I let slide. You would have paid double? Yeah. He's definitely interesting. Some of his work from that era, in fact, most of his work, it's a little bit too odd. Andy Kubert's work, there's been times where his art made me stop buying a book. I got so just sick of the weirdness of it. But Adam Kubert, I always liked his stuff, especially when he was doing Wolverine. When Wolverine lost his medal. Just his weird proportions. Like, let me, I've got kind of an example right here, actually. Bear with me. Throwing stuff around. Yeah, so just for example, I just happen to have this book out. He does these weird squinty faces. Like Bishop here, Wolverine there, even Cable up there. Like, this isn't like a perfect example of things I don't like about it, but he does these weird squinty faces. This just happens to be the one thing I had sitting out nearby me, but he does some weird shaped anatomical things. I'm trying to find an example. I mean, this stuff is actually pretty good in this issue. Let me see. Yeah, like, I don't know. He does weird things with eyes. Weird kind of, like, Psylocke's anatomy there is kind of weird. I can hear myself, and, you know, I can imagine somebody being on the other end of my conversation I'm having here and being like, everything you're saying is something you could find in every other artist's work, and you're right. It's just a weird way of making things look that it doesn't. It's like it's good. I'm not saying it's not good, but it's just something about it bugs me. And this issue is not the best example to show at all of the weird shit that he does. It just kind of doesn't float my boat. It also feels like he was trying to understandably kind of copy the Jim Lee style, because he's drawing X-Men right after Jim Lee, and he's not Jim Lee. He's his own artist, you know, and I don't know. Like, Wolverine looks awesome here, but Cable in the background, you see that weird positioning of his body, like how he's got his upper body, like we're staring straight onto his crotch here, but then his upper body's twisted completely to the side and bent all the way backwards and shooting up. It's weird for me to be complaining about anatomy when I'm like, Liefeld does fucked up anatomy, but it's awesome. I don't know. I don't. It's kind of hard to say. That's not the best example. It's just a personal thing that just doesn't float my boat. Not enough to want to spend $300 or whatever the hell it was. I don't remember the cost on a. I know it wasn't that much, but on an artist edition of his. I don't like his work that much when I had a couple other things I would prefer to have instead. So I don't know. That wasn't really a good example. Oh, shit. I try to be honest when I can at least say I can recognize that something's good even if I don't like it. There's a big difference in, you know, it's just some stylistic choices and it's art and it's subjective, and just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not good. I don't think Alan Davis is a great artist in terms of somebody whose work I want to follow. He bores me to tears, but he's obviously an incredible artist. I will never pick up a book because he draws it. Yeah, sometimes I get kind of, I get hyperbolic and kind of over the top, like douchebaggy about it sometimes, but that's just kind of just for entertainment value. But sometimes I mean it. I was rewatching one of my videos about Curse of Spawn, and man, I was going off on the writer. It wasn't the art, it was the writing on that fucking series that I hate, and I do not like that writer. Mark Domowitz, what's up, man?
I'm looking at the future, not just for us and the talent, but for my son.
Seeing the growth of our crypto portfolio.
Mark, you said on the Discord you're obsessed with Tower Dungeon manga. I've never even heard of that. Of course, that's not surprising if it's manga. I haven't heard of almost anything, but I'll have to seek it out and look at it. That kind of recommendation. Son of a fuck. Every time I get up this goddamn pen, dip my hand in the wet ink, and then I smudge it everywhere. Montoya. The story will wrap up the Dick in the Jar cliffhanger. I do keep coming up with like future possible stories for these characters, or some of them, and if by some stroke of luck, like I run a crowdfunder and it happens to go really well, and people want to see more, I'm leaving it open to do more, but the idea is just a one-off. I'm thinking 30 pages, maybe 40 pages at most. You know, it would be funny if it ends with an empty jar and they're like, no, where is it? Don't get me wrong, he finds it. He's reunited with the lost member of his family, if you know what I mean. And it's actually this girl, this character, is the one who's got it. She's the one who stole it. So it's going to end with the conflict between her and him. It's these two where the ultimate kind of conflict comes from. this is just me screwing up. Well, that too. It's just me goofing off. This is for nothing. This is just drawing just because it, maybe it'll end up as a pinup in the back of the book or something, but it had no purpose except I just wanted to draw something. Yeah, I get that, Montoya. It's for me. It's just separating from the actual work, the comic, and just doing something just purely kind of mindless for fun. Since I don't do this for a living and I don't have to worry about it for income, like a job, I can do any goddamn thing I want. Mark, you're on 21 of 49, dude. You're cranking them. How many pages was the first that main story in your upsetting book? I don't remember. I know it was quite big. That's what she said. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, that was a big book. Is the one you're doing now a follow-up to that? Like issue 2, basically, of that story? It's a whole different story. Takes place in the same Domoverse, but that hardly matters. That's awesome. I like that. Oh, is that what you and Green were talking about? He's going to draw a backup story for it? That would be interesting. Yeah, to have someone else draw your story. I've had that experience sort of once, having someone else draw your story. Years ago, when I was on that website, Digital Webbing, I did a video on this, but it's been like a year and a half ago, where a bunch of us did a group X-Men project, and I was basically the one spearheading it and kind of keeping it under control and in direction. I had to provide basic plots for artists to draw for the next chapter of this group X-Men project. And it was fun to watch people turn in stories based on my very kind of loose plot and see how they interpreted it. And oftentimes, most of the time, they did things better than I ever kind of even had it imagined in my head. So that's fun, actually. It's something I've always kind of wanted to do again. Oh no, we never got it printed. It was we flirted with the idea, but then a bunch of time passed and no one cared. And who's going to front the bill for it? You know, I don't know. But it was basically like 2 full issues of this X-Men group project. And again, I did a video on it. It's on my channel. It's buried. But I think if you put in X-Men group project, and it's like the only time I think where the only version of it I had was I got out my camera and had it pointed at a laptop because I've only got the digital files of it. But people produced some interesting, fun work. We made a pretty freaking interesting. It was chaotic because the premise was that here's what the previous person did. These are the stories that they drew and the pages that they did. They did like 4 pages, and this is where it ended. You get to draw the next pages, but do whatever you want. That's how it started. And so people would just take the existing story and where it ended at page 4 or 5, and they do 4 or 5 pages and just take the story wherever they wanted. And then the task was the next person then has to pick it up and keep going based on where the last person left it. It eventually got a little chaotic and I had to start steering the direction of the thing. But it made for some weird, fun shit. Yeah, digital webbing was awesome. Isaac Bell, who we've talked about, that guy that's got his own book, Metal Shade, he kind of got started, at least in part, there. And Ryan Otley from Invincible, he was there. There's a couple other guys. My dumbass was on there, but I'm a nobody. For a time, it was a heck of a place. Ray Dillon and Renee DeLees, who have done professional work for like DC Comics. Like they drew Wonder Woman. They were on there. You've done a thing like that like that, super fun. You had to impose R-rated or less rules, though. Yeah. People want to start taking shit in weird directions. But our story ended up, it started with Wolverine and Psylocke fighting Spiral and some monsters, trying to get to Dazzler, who was captured by Mojo. And it ended up with Jean Grey becoming the Dark Phoenix and facing off against Galactus. That's where our story went. And it started involving the wider Marvel universe. We were getting Reed Richards and Tony Stark involved. It was wild. But man, was it fun. Kind of. God, I don't have it anywhere with me. It all started with, again, it's not exactly he's a pro, but Isaac Bell, he might as well be a pro. He's making a living drawing his own comics through crowdfunding. It started with him just drawing like 3 pages just because, and he got sick of it, and I looked at it and I was like, that's awesome. Can I just draw the next bit, the next couple of pages? And he's like, sure. But by the time we were done, that Renee DeLise, who's drawn Wonder Woman for DC, she sketched up an original cover for us. And I actually own that original art. I actually have it. I bought it from her just last year. And I'm talking, we did that thing like 15 years ago. Let me see. I think I've got it sitting right here. I think. Yeah. So, yeah, this was 2015, so 10 years ago. She just did this quick sketch for us, and then some people practiced inking over it. And then I had a bunch of people offer to color it. I had some amazing color jobs done on this. But yeah, this girl, this is the original pencil drawing. Like I said, she's done work for DC Comics. But again, this is, I guess that's saying 15, her signature there. So that's when that one was done. And, you know, I'm sure she might say it's not her favorite thing. But, you know, the hand's kind of a little goofy over here in terms of size. But I like the face. I like the hair. I love the background swirling energy. God, let me back up so you can see it all. Yeah. She's not very active on social media anymore. I don't know. Something's weird's going on in their world. I don't know what it is. But about a year ago, she started selling a bunch of artwork online, and I was watching like a live video where she was showing all the different things she was offering. And in the back of my head, I was like, God, it would be awesome if she had that Dark Phoenix drawing, but I'm sure she's long since lost it. And then she showed it. And I was like, I want it. Give it to me, please. I'll buy it. How much? I mean, cost was a factor, but I do have a limited edition convention print, number 61 of 200, signed by Ryan Otley. Obviously not an original piece, but it's a print. But I don't even know where the hell I got this from. I've actually met Otley several times because he lives here in Utah. He actually knows who I am. I visited him at his house years ago. Maybe I bought this from him at a convention. Let's see. This guy, these are prints from Eric Balsadua, I think is how you say his name. He was at a convention here locally. And he worked for Top Cow. He does these great drawings with the Copic marker, warm tones and cool tones, which I own the same set. So I got that print from him, and this one. He likes to make his money drawing like hot girl art, which, you know, that's good work. Let's see, that's just a printout. And then this guy, Chad Harden, I think is his name. He's done a lot of professional comic art. I think he lives locally. I got to meet him this last year at a local kind of small convention. I bought this print off him. I was chatting him up, taking up a bunch of his time. I kind of felt obligated to at least buy something from him, so I bought a print from him. But he was on digital webbing. And I looked for the hottest girl print that he had, and this is the one I chose. I guess it's supposed to be Harley Quinn in Slave Leah outfit because it's got the color scheme. Anyway, that's all that shit. Then we look at all that cool art, and then we come back to my shit. I'm like, ugh. It's always the problem when I look at good art. I also have a 3D printed Star Trek phaser, if that's any kind of a idea of what kind of a nerd I am. A buddy of mine gave this to me. He's like, dude, this is my first 3D printed Star Trek phaser. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. He's like, do you want it? I'm like, you bet your fucking ass. He's like, what are you going to do with it? I'm like, I don't know, phaser people. I just wish it beep, 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 and then set to vaporize. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It's just, you know, when you measure yourself against the people that you really like, it's like, ugh, I got a long ways to go. But what's up, Wesley? You like Kubert? Everyone should like Kubert better over me. That would be actually interesting there, Mark, if my Discord channel became the new digital webbing. There's a lot of really talented guys there, and everyone gets along and shares their art. It's a good time. Who wouldn't love the outfit on the chick? Under boob, lots of abs. You know, being for real, I did not intend this, but it wasn't until I was staring at it. I'm like, what does this remind me of? And I'm like, it's basically the exact outfit on Aeon Flux. I was like, oh. Well, all right, to be fair, she also wore several different outfits. In fact, I don't think she ever wore the same outfit twice, but like, to me, the iconic one is like full leather on the top of her, and then like thong underwear and boots. And I'm like, I think I just ripped off Aeon Flux. Except I'm not a fraction as talented as Peter Chung, but yeah. Wasn't intentional, but it's done, so who cares? I ain't changing it. I originally kind of wanted the outfit to look like a Cyblade from Cyberforce, just minus the metal stuff. It's just like the black leathery shit and not the shiny metal armor stuff. And that's kind of what it is, but then it's more Aeon Flux than anything else. So I'm a hack. I'm ripping off the greats. And Rob Liefeld too. Jeffrey, no one has blue pencils like my blue pencils. I don't know about that, but yeah, it sucked that the Aeon Flux movie was fucking horrible. Like, way to miss the point of the cartoon, guys. pretty sure I read somewhere that Peter Chung was actually embarrassed and depressed by that movie. But what can you do when the big corporation owns the rights to it and it can bend it over and fuck it straight up at the ass if they choose to? Jeffrey, you'll be back even if I diss your favorite artist. I'll try to rein myself in, I promise. That's funny. I think I've got all the line work mostly done. It's just mostly filling in blacks now. Thanks, Wesley. Appreciate it. better to fill in these blacks with. I got a bottle of ink, but I gotta go get me some water. Means I'd have to step away. Just not a big deal, but alright, everyone, give me like a few seconds to step away. I gotta go get a little bit of water to use my ink and brush with.
Style and substance. In the GMT era, 4.049% APR on new Sierra models, or current eligible GMT owners get over $7,800 total value.
I have returned. Yeah, it's fun, especially when you can get, interesting conversation going back and forth between everybody. I just have to imagine people get sick of hearing my voice, but, well, you're trapped. So, what can I say? Thanks for stopping in, Montoya. Appreciate it, as always. God, I haven't dipped into this bottle of ink in a long time. I bet the ink's turned into sludge. Add a little water to it. Whose house? Run's house. Alright. Let's see if the bottle of ink sludge flows. Drawn Daredevil. I've heard the Disney Plus show is actually kind of good. I've heard it's not as good so far as the original, but hell, these days for Disney, it's a feat if it's like just even kind of good. So I definitely will be getting caught up on that here. I don't know, maybe tomorrow? I don't know, I got my kids around, they don't want to watch it. I've actually already had the first 2 episodes spoiled, especially the beginning of episode 1. So I guess we'll see how that goes. But I'm interested. Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin is ace casting. Like, that is just the best. Hey, Bubba. What's up?
I've got really bad headache.
Do you know the cabinet above the microwave? In the cabinet above the microwave, you can look. It's right there. There's a bottle of pain medicine. Grab it and bring it to me. Sheldon Martin, top 5 favorite artists for capes. I never think of him in terms of who's my favorite artist to draw capes. That being said, there's only 2 that I know of that I think do them really, really well. And that's Todd McFarlane and Joe Quesada. Might take a little bit to start working, but it'll get there. But yeah, McFarlane and Quesada do epic capes. I'm certainly not saying they're the only ones, just the only ones that come to my mind where I'm like, oh yeah, those guys. So Joe Quesada's got a hell of a design eye, you know, an eye for design, I guess is the way to say that. I can't think of a lot of work where Quesada does a lot of cape work. I just remember flipping through that Batman Azrael series that I did a video on not too long ago, and I think it was that one where he did some great cape work, but he's awesome. He does weird shit sometimes that makes his artwork kind of hard to follow. Yeah, Tradmore, that's not a name that rings a bell to me. I would assume he's some kind of newer name. That's usually what happens when it's a name I've never even heard of. It's like, oh, that's a new guy. I'm like, oh, that's why I don't know. Mobius is a guy I need to find some like big collected works on. I've only ever seen like small bits and pieces of his work. I'm certainly aware of who he is or was, and he's really good. But I need to get. I don't have anything he's ever drawn. Like I have nothing. hear about Mobius drawing Silver Surfer, I'm always drawn back to that movie, Crimson Tide. For anybody who remembers, the Gene Hackman and Denzel, Jesus, submarine movie. But they were having some of the enlisted men in the lower decks of the submarine got into a fight in the food court wherever because one guy said that the Kirby Silver Surfer was the only real Silver Surfer and the Mobius Silver Surfer was shit. And so they got into a big fight about it. And I was like, oh, somebody's talking comic books in Crimson Tide, of all places. It's kind of a weird little experiment I'm trying to portray on this girl's outfit like a shiny, like vinyl outfit, kind of like the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman outfit. So I'm trying to leave all these highlights around. It's interesting if you ever look at like skin tight black shiny vinyl material and the highlights on it, which are very dependent on the light sources available, but it's really some abstracty shapes, and like translating that is it's tricky. I'm not saying I'm being entirely successful, but I mean we'll see when I'm done inking here if it translates. But that's what I'm going for, is those just weird little bubbly highlights.
You know what, y'all?
I've thought about that, Mark, definitely. And I have done versions of this before where I'll do this kind of, like you're saying, drawing around it, inking around it, but then I will go back in with some white and enhance it. So we'll see. This is just the first pass, but I try not to get too worried about making it like hyper exact. It's just I kind of am really kind of abstractly loose with it. Just let the shapes be, and just kind of see if it just kind of forms itself. I don't know if that makes any sense. Sometimes you like the artistic interpretation of shiny leather latex more than the realistic look. Yeah, I get that. Adam Hughes does a really good version of this type of stuff. When he was drawing Catwoman covers, and there's a couple like Tomb Raider covers, he gets it so exact right. It's incredible how good it is. That man is just so freaking good. You know, well, now that it's all filled in, I mean, I think it works. It's kind of interesting when you kind of start getting to this level of the inking where you're like, it's all finally coming together, whether you fucked it up or not. So I'm gonna start inking with the ninja guy up here, Mr. Strud Blake. Yeah, the Rolodex of anything artistic in Hughes' head is mind-boggling. I agree. He's one of those guys, when I first discovered him way back in the 90s, early 90s, I did not like what he did. But once he did that Gen 13 Ordinary Heroes 2-issue series, I was like, oh my God, he's good. And then suddenly I could see the amazing artist, and I've just been in love with his work ever since. He knows how to do everything. Like, there's nothing he can't do and do extremely well. His only problem is that he's slow, and he knows that. He admits it. But people are willing to pay through their ass to get his art. His convention commission prices, unbelievable. It's like $15,000. And they sell out of those slots instantly. I was getting tired and gonna shut this live stream down, but now I want to finish the filling in the blacks on this thing. I'm close enough, I can power through it. Oh, Sheldon, you got his 2024 sketchbook? I saw them advertising that, and I really wanted them, but they were so pricey. Like, I think he wanted like 50 or 60 bucks for the one. And I was just like, oh, God, I want it so bad. Yeah. In fact, a video I did like a year and a half ago of some of his old convention sketchbooks is the second highest viewed video on my channel. But he's got so little comic work to actually look at. I've looked at the Ordinary Heroes, the Gen 13 thing, you know. He did a couple Hellboy things. I even did those fucking weird Betty and Veronica comics that he did. Yeah. See, Sheldon, I saw them. I think, what's their name? Allison put up a link to their, I don't know if it's an Etsy store, but they had like a bundle package of like two of it's like the 2024 sketchbook and then something else. But they were selling them together, and I think it was more than that. It wasn't Patreon where I was looking. So it might have been that they did that first and then started offering up the other way. I would love to see it up close. Oh, he did. Yeah, his Watchmen thing. Yes. Yeah, I knew there were some other ones. Um, yeah, those. I think it was 2 or 3, maybe 4 issues of the Watchmen, or the Doctor Manhattan story. Beautifully drawn. He's so good. Yeah, that's another one of those I forgot. One of my biggest kind of frustrations is years ago when they announced the All-Star line. You know, Jim Lee was going to do Batman with Frank Miller. That was going to be the coolest thing ever. But Adam Hughes was going to write and draw a Wonder Woman All-Star thing. And I could not wait. A Wonder Woman thing by Adam Hughes, those covers he used to do were so beautiful. But he was so slow that I think the All-Star line just kind of fizzled out once Frank Quietly did that amazing Superman run with Grant Morrison, and then the Jim Lee Frank Miller one just divided people. But Adam Hughes just couldn't get the book done, so he's got a bunch of pages done as far as I understand it, but probably never to see the light of day. And there was no book I was looking for more than a Wonder Woman drawn by Adam Hughes. And just, 2 decades later, it's just never happened. Yeah. Because if there's one female character that Adam Hughes draws maybe better than anybody else on the planet, it's Wonder Woman, in my opinion. And he definitely would have, in my opinion, blown away those other ones in terms of what I would have liked to have seen. Jim Lee Batman, written by Frank Miller, well, we all know how that turned out. And the Frank Quietly Grant Morrison was one of the best Superman stories ever done. But Wonder Woman by Adam Hughes. Like, good job, DC. You picked the best possible artist. You just also chose a guy that is slow as hell. Getting close to being done on the inks on this guy. Yeah, Sheldon, that's the one thing I appreciate about Adam Hughes. Well, not the one thing, but there's many things I appreciate. But one of the biggest things is like there's so many of my favorite artists are out there, like J. Scott Campbell or Joe Mad or Todd McFarlane, and they're still alive and capable of drawing comics, and they just don't because they're doing cover work or drawing or doing video games or whatever the fuck. But Adam Hughes will on occasion draw a comic, like he did those Hellboy things in recent years, the Watchmen stuff. You know, he will, like you just said, he will draw a comic on occasion, and big props to him for still wanting to, like, he does only shit he wants to do, and he clearly wants to draw comics because he makes a lot of money on private commissions and covers. He doesn't have to draw comics at all, but he does. So he's one of those guys that, like, wants to do the sequential storytelling. So that I like. He's definitely one of those guys that's got the passion. He was actually in the hospital recently. I was worried, like, oh God, what if he's sick and he dies? I'm trying to think, I haven't had any artist who I really, really love, you know, who I've grown up with. I mean, there's been some artists that have passed away that were, you know, it's sad and everything, but like artists whose work really profoundly moves me, I haven't had any of those guys pass away in my lifetime yet, but if Adam Hughes were to check out suddenly, I would be a sad guy. Yeah, Dan Green, that's a good one. I was trying to go through my mind of who has gone. But you know, he's an inker, and he hadn't done anything um, that I had seen for a long time. In fact, I didn't even know he was still alive. I guess I would have assumed he was, but I didn't even know he was still alive until they announced that he was dead. But that one sucked. I did a little video tribute-ish thing on my channel to him. Michael Turner hurt, you know, years ago when that happened. That was sad. Um, Trying to think. You just look at a picture of Frank Miller, you're like, that guy is not long for this world. He looks like he's half dead as it is. And he's always slouched to the side. I swear his like spine has given out on him. I don't know if anyone's paid attention to that, but guy looks uncomfortable. Michael Turner's art ushered you back into comics. It was that one sucked a lot because he had so much more to give. He was just in his like mid-30s, right? Had a flourishing comic line with what? So he had Fathom and the Soulfire, which I didn't care for, but you know, it was popular. And that Echoes, that some like weird animal world weird shit. He had some ideas that I didn't care for in terms of like comic properties, but he was doing his thing. He was going to do I think a Wolverine series with Jeff Loeb, I think. Yeah. That one sucked. Ugh. Well, I think that if we're erasing some pencil, I think I'm done with this one. Let me put the cap back on my ink before I fuck up and spill it. Back that up so people can see it. Well, guys, I think I'm going to be done since I finished this. I have nothing else to offer tonight. I'm going for, what, 2.5 hours? Something like that. Let's get a close-up on it. Mark, you finished yours during the stream too? That's awesome. Kill snap here and doll face here. Alright guys, well, I'm gonna pack it up for the night, so I appreciate it. I will catch all of you on the next one. Mark, Wesley, everybody. Thanks guys.